In The Flash, Barry Allen has long been pitched as the morals of the team, the ethics, the principles, which is fine. He's the leader, and this is his own show. The weird thing is, in this episode, he just leaves to go and get his end away, which is understandable on its own, and obviously all of the team treat this just as a normal matter that it would be.
Focus on each other while we're trying to, No!
And this is normal. We live in a very prudish society, and no one has ever been exposed to this kind of conversation.
Yeah, you effing with some wet-ass P-word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet-ass P-word.
Now, the issue with removing a strong and principled leader from a team like this is it leaves everyone else rudderless, and so they just end up imitating the decisions that they think the leader would have made in that position. But when it comes to ethics and principles, you can't really do this, and what happens is it can very quickly descend into what can only be described as evil. But the issue with this one is that this is their girl power episode, and I'm not sure that that is the message they really wanted to send out during their girl power episode. Or if it was. Based. So it all starts when we are reintroduced to Ultraviolet, and let's face it, the outfit I think looks super cool. But she's trying to kill her cousin Allegra. Now, obviously she just dives behind cover because she really doesn't want to fight her own cousin. And I'm not sure what happened to this guy, who I'm assuming has had an extra shot of wheatgrass in his soy latte this morning, because he decides he's going to try and fend off Ultraviolet with a stool. I'm not really sure what he's planning to do with that, except make her ever so slightly more comfortable. But that's probably explained by this that we find out about him later in the show.
Time to put my badass face on.
But you're a pacifist.
So yes, that man is a lot of use. And so he's a
wet-ass P-word.
That means that Allegra actually has to start fighting herself, and the two aren't really easily matched. You see, Allegra, she can sort of beam out light a little bit, but Ultraviolet can shoot light beams, deadly light beams out of her hands, and for some reason she just really hates cake. But luckily, they are saved by a new entrant. Now, Sue Dearborn here is easily my favourite character out of this entire episode, and she's pretty much the only one who has any semblance of a normal moral compass or actually sanity in the entire show. And you should know about I'll be skipping over anything in the rest of the episode that I don't find interesting, and this includes anything that talks about feelings, because the bare minimum I require before I even consider caring about your feelings is that you actually exist. Now, in the next scene, we learn this very important piece of information about Ultraviolet's character.
I have seen Ultraviolet melt the face off of someone and laugh while doing it.
And I want you to remember that because nobody else does. Oh, and we also get this wonderful beauty from the alpha male in the room.
Prayer hands emoji for the save.
Wet-ass P-word.
This is Team Flash.
If you're liking the video so far, press like and hit subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Onwards. Welcome to why I like the character, because at this point I'm pretty sure they're just all taking the piss out of me. But, as you'd expect for this group of heroes, they come up with an incredibly intelligent plan.
But I can still save Esperanza.
So the team decide to go and track down Ultraviolet, and they do this by finding out her assassination target and then stopping it. Now, this is a good tactic overall, but the reasons why they're going to do this is, strange.
You want to save her? Yeah, you know, like Barry does with the bad guys. I mean, not so much save her, but redeem her.
I mean, sure, I'd redeem her in a prison cell for somewhere in the region of life. But either way, they do manage to track down her target, and despite an overly dramatic entrance...
Run.
They do capture her with the magic grenade that they made, and then, as any good female hero knows, you should always carry handcuffs. They come in very useful. In one of the weirdest parts of the script, though, we have this little beauty.
Tell whoever hired you the assassination is cancelled.
You fools! I wasn't hired!
Okay, love, but I'm not sure if you're aware, but the problem that I have with it is that you're melting people's face off and laughing at it because it's funny. Not because you're paid. Getting paid to do it doesn't really make it any worse, but it doesn't make it any better either. It is the melting of the face which is the issue, scriptwriters and female heroes. Now, it turns out that the scientist she was about to brutally murder was the same one that had removed her voice and experimented on her when she was younger. So obviously this was a terrible thing and this man must be brought to justice. But at the same time...
I have seen Ultraviolet melt the face off of someone and laugh while doing it.
And obviously, we know what must happen here. Oh, sure, the heroes can go off and capture the scientist, and if Ultraviolet knows where he is, then she can just tell them, and that'll solve all of the problems. And Ultraviolet has to go to prison. She must do. She's been melting off people's faces. You can't get away with that. That's not moral. That's not ethical. A hero would never do that. Although it turns out, if you just show this woman some scars, she'll do anything.
We'll help you get him. I promise.
Sidebar, please. You want to join her now?
Now, I don't know if Sue Dearborn is meant to be the voice of the audience throughout this episode, but she's definitely me. And at this point, she's like, look, you can't work with her. This is a mission you will not come back from. This is a woman that enjoys melting people's faces off. What are you doing? And she's like, I know better.
I know what Barry would do.
Clearly don't love, because we've just had 8 seasons of him catching criminals and then locking them up for justice. And you're about to let one free. Why? Well, she had a bit of a bad experience when she was younger, and that just means you can do whatever you want later in life, because, hell, why would anyone have to take responsibility for their own actions, eh? So, they decide to team up, and, yeah, it doesn't go well for them in the next bit. It only gets worse from here. And I'm sure there's a Joker quote in here somewhere that would really fit in well. Except often when you do these kind of terrible decisions, it's not actually you that suffer. Now, Allegra isn't very good with her powers, so Ultraviolet starts training her. So Sue Dearborn comes in and decides that the only way to show her Ultraviolet's true nature is to start punching her for some reason. Don't ask me, I don't get it either. Yeah, during the fight, Ultraviolet decides that she's going to use her deadly laser beams to attack Sue Dearborn for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Well, when I say no reason whatsoever, have I mentioned...
I have seen Ultraviolet melt the face off of someone and laugh while doing it.
But obviously these lasers miss, and they almost kill Mr. Soy, who also then goes and breaks his arm. At this point, I'd like to point out that this guy is actually being kicked, broke his wrist, and broke his arm. Dude, if this is what being a pacifist is, you might want to reconsider, because it seems like you've got some kind of brittle bone disease or something. I don't know, but whatever it is, I would definitely be more careful. Now, thinking about it, it's probably just the soy. What you need is some milk. Get that calcium down, you me lad. You'll be a lot stronger. It's great.
Chuck, this is all my fault.
Yes, yes it is. 100% it is your fault, but it's not going to stop you, is it? Because what follows is some of the least self-aware television I've ever seen. First, this guy asks,
Where's your cousin? Did she really leave?
and we get the great response from...
Yep. And good riddance.
Well, that doesn't stop it, because we have condescending eye roll as every person in the audience agrees that this woman is a complete evil idiot. But does she know what to do?
Shouldn't we go after her?
I don't know.
No, of course you don't. You have let a psychopathic killer off onto the loose. She was in your custody. She could have gone to prison for life and never hurt anyone again. And yet you had your wacky ideas that you know better than literally everybody else, which has died at her hands. And you let her go. And now you don't know whether you should go and stop her. How about this? How about this? Not only should you go and stop the killer, it is your duty. If it takes you the rest of your life, you have unleashed that on the world. Everything she does is on your hands, and you have no choice at this point but to cover up for your mistake, take responsibility for your own actions, and get out there and have a moral spine for once in your life. Oh, and in case you're wondering, it gets worse.
When I first met Team Flash, it was in handcuffs. When they first met you, you were robbing a bank. We didn't want help either. But this team never gave up on us.
Okay, so you were in handcuffs, and she was robbing a bank. Were either of you doing this?
I have seen Ultraviolet melt the face off of someone and laugh while doing it.
Because what you've just run into there is a hierarchy of crime. Not everything is on the same level. Some things are objectively worse than others. And I just put it to you that melting off someone's face and laughing at the same time. And I know I keep going on about that, but let's face it, seems pretty serious to me, but this woman, apparently no, just everyone does that. Oh, we did it down the pub last Sunday, it was all fine. We got over it the next day. She has no moral compass, no ethics, no kind of empathy at all. It is completely bewildering that anyone could write this character and think it's fine. This is a villain. This is the evil person. So we approach the final confrontation, and they track down Ultraviolet to the evil scientist's lair. And what a surprise! She's joined the evil scientist. Yes, I never would have guessed that evil sided with evil. Oh, you got me there. So it turns out that Ultraviolet wants her voice back, and the scientist guy is the only person that can return the voice. So Allegra and Ultraviolet fight, with Ultraviolet obviously winning because she's just better in every way. And it leads to Allegra crawling along the floor, begging for help.
Please, please don't do this.
Ya está hecho, prima.
Look, I'm just kind of getting those Joker vibes, alright? You get what you f***ing deserve. So, Sue Dearborn actually is her last hope, and unfortunately she's fighting all of the guards because Allegra just ran past them and didn't do anything on the way, and Sue Dearborn had to save her as always. Literally the only person in the show of any sense, sanity, or skill. So she's fighting these people and she's winning all of them, and she wraps around this little metal wire that she's going to use a taser on to distract them all. Now look, I'm not an elite trained guard. I'm not a security guard for any kind of evil company. But if I ever got wrapped up in this tactic, I think I have a great way out of it. Just some super secret tactic that could have solved all of these problems for these 5 men. And that is... like, literally, she's about 5 foot. You don't have to walk out to just pull her off balance. It's not that challenging, lads. Keep up. So it's time. Ultraviolet unleashes her final attack to finish off and kill Allegra. And it's working. She's winning. But then Allegra discovers that she actually can fire her only deadly light beams out of her hands. She just needs to find out the exact power, the exact emotion to feed it. And what is it? It's the power of love. No, I'm not just quoting song lyrics there. That's literally what they do, and she starts glowing. I don't know why, but she glows with some super magical power because nothing is stronger than the power of love. She does look like Captain Marvel, though, which really freaks me out, I've got to admit. You'd think you'd probably want to disassociate yourself from that, but apparently not, so, oops. No, I think it's obvious at this point what I think of what she's done throughout this entire episode, and it's not very good. But let's hear what she thinks in her own words as they discuss exactly what's the summary of what's happened in this episode.
You did well out there, you know. Not sure the boss would agree. I organized a rogue mission while Barry was gone. I almost got Sue and Chuck killed, but you followed your heart, and that's what Barry would have done.
It's what Barry would have done, would he? Barry would have followed his heart. Okay, yes, but Barry also has a moral compass. He does at least try to do good. She has no concept of good or evil, apparently, and that's only proven as we go through and finish off the show. You see, they do mention that the scientist is now in prison, and good, he should do. He's been conducting illegal experiments on unwilling people. Of course he needs to go to prison. And so does the mass murderer. Look, it's not hard, it's not difficult. She melted off people's faces. Come on, but no. Do you know what they're going to do? They're going to ask how she is, they're going to treat her, and then they're going to cure her to get her voice back, and then they let her go. They let her go. Do I have to remind you of the clip earlier? Because I've already shown it multiple times. I don't think you've forgotten, but they certainly did. Oh my god, I can't believe you would let the villain of the piece go. Because you see what they're going to do? They're going to go, and in fact they did. It's not her fault. No, all of her actions, every choice she ever made throughout her entire life, it's absolutely not her fault. All those people that she brutally killed, they're not her fault. She's not responsible. I mean, I know she chose to, and I know she enjoyed it, but let's face it, it's probably a man's fault. It's the man's fault, and the man's in prison. Why would you blame her for it? It's not like she did it herself. Oh, wait, she did. Yeah. I have no idea what to say about this episode. This is just pure immorality. There's just evil. Evil is the only word I can think for it. You're literally letting someone like that go. All the blood that is on her hands is now on yours. You are responsible for not just anything she does in the future, but everything she's done in the past, because she will never face justice for what she's done. And that is utterly repulsive. That is disgusting. And the fact that this show is painting these people like heroes after they let someone like that go, I cannot believe. And with that, that wraps up another video. If you liked it, press like, hit subscribe for more, and the bell to be notified of more videos in the future. If you liked anything, leave it in the comments below. It really helps me get the video out. All of the interaction, I really, really appreciate it. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you thought of the characters in the series. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.